Okay. Good morning, one and all. So this is what second lecture on thermal engineering. So today we are going to start with an actual module one topic first, that is modes of heat transfer. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible here.
Okay, fine. So first of all, let us see what exactly is the heat transfer. So the heat transfer is nothing but the transmission of energy from one region to another as a result of temperature gradient. So whenever there is a temperature, means suppose there is a two bodies, if I consider here, right? So in this case, suppose if I consider two bodies, which is one is at a higher temperature, okay, so I'll draw it with red, and another it as a lower temperature, okay. So always the heat will transfer, the transfer of energy will take place. So the heat will transfer from higher temperature to lower temperature. So for transfer of heat, it requires some some temperature gradient. We can say the temperature difference is required. If there is a temperature difference, obviously there will be a heat transfer. So it can be at a room temperature. Okay, at the room temperature also the whenever there is a temperature difference, whatever 1 degree, 2 degree temperature difference is there, it will try to be in equilibrium. A body will try to be in equilibrium. So because if it is a higher temperature, it will try to maintain its temperature as a surrounding temperature. So it will try to come to its equilibrium. Similarly, if it is having a cold body, if it is a cold body, then it will try to raise its temperature. So from where it will take the temperature, it will take the heat from surrounding. Okay. So obviously there will be always a heat transfer from one body to another or from the surrounding to the body. So heat transfer can take place anywhere. Okay. So for the necessity of heat transfer, there should be a temperature gradient. If the temperature gradient is there, then only the heat transfer will take place. Okay, so now what are the modes of heat transfer? There are three modes of heat transfer where, by virtue of which the heat transfer takes place. So first is the conduction. Okay, the first one is conduction. Second is convection, and third is radiation. So conduction, heat transfer, convection and radiation. So let us see the example. This is a daily life example where a vessel is kept on a heater and it has been heated, water is being heated inside it. Okay. So when we are holding this pan, so what happens whenever there is a transfer of heat from solid to solid, okay, or within the substance itself, then it is called as conduction. So if I touch the handle of this vessel, what will happen? You will feel that it is heated or it is hot at present, right? So what will happen? How this transfer of heat takes place? So what happened? The heat gets transmitted from the coil to the vessel outer surface. Now this is due to convection, right? And if it is in contact, then it will be in the conduction. Then from the vessel outer body to, now you can see the first surface, the bottom surface is getting heated, then the side surface will get heated, that is due to conduction. And then due to side surface, the handle also will get heated. So this type of heat transfer is called as conduction. Then next is the convection, how the convection takes place. Now here we can see that only the vessel surface is getting heated, right? So from the outer surface of the vessel to the inner surface of the vessel, it will be conduction, right? Then at the inner surface there is a water, so inside the water the heat transfer will take place by convection. Means first one molecule of the water will get heated and it will transfer the heat to the other molecule. So that is the mode of heat transfer will be convection. So here also there will be heat transfer, because if it is there is a air in between, so there will be convection taking place. And if it is non-contact heat transfer, then radiation will be also playing a role in it. Okay, so one by one we'll see how the heat transfer, what are the various modes of heat transfer. Okay, so first mode of heat transfer is the conduction. The conduction is the heat transfer from one body. Okay, the conduction is the heat transfer from one body or one part of a substance to another part of a same substance, or from one substance to another in a physical contact with it. So it should be a physical contact and it should be a solid substance without applicable displacement of molecule forming the substance. The following are the two mechanisms for for mechanism for heat transfer. Now, how the in solid how this heat transfer take place? So it is due to lactic vibration, and second is the transfer of free electrons. So within the body there will be a transfer of free electrons, and due to it there will be transfer of heat from one part of the body to another part of the body. So always it will be taking place with the solid object, right? It will always take place in the solid object. And the how exactly the heat transfer will take place? It is due to the vibration, lactic vibration. The molecule will vibrate, and due to it there will be a transfer of heat. So when we heat any of the solid body, the molecules will start vibrating, and that vibration is getting transferred to another molecules, and due to it there will be a heat transfer. So that is in the conduction. So always the conduction will take place in the solids. Then second mode of heat transfer is the convection. Right, now convection, it is the convection is the transfer of heat within a fluid by mixing of one portion of fluid with the another. Right. So whenever there is a fluid, now what are the various fluids which we can name? So that is air, water, right? These are the fluids. So if there is a fluid, the heat transfer between the fluid, then we can say that yes, it is a convective type heat transfer. The convection is possible only in fluid medium, and it's directly linked with the transport of medium itself. So whenever there is a transport of a fluid itself, so that we can say yes, the convection takes place. So any example of convection, if we want to say, then boiling of water, right? If the boiling of water, if we consider, that is due to convection. Then third mode of heat transfer is the radiation. Radiation is the transfer of heat through a space or a matter by means other than the conduction and convection. Okay, now how that happens? The radiation is saw as electronic waves. Okay, it is thought of electromagnetic waves. So what happens when a body is heated? It will emit some electromagnetic waves. So that wave will carry the energy from one part body to another body. And the specialty of radiation is that it does not require any medium. Okay, so if there is no medium, there is anything, no medium, no particle, no substance available, still radiation will take place. So that's why this is the reason why in this space the for only one mode of heat transfer works, that is the radiation. Okay, these are the three modes of heat transfer, that is conduction, convection, and radiation. So in the day-to-day life, you might have faced various applications, right? So you have to list down the various applications. The first application I can boiling of, that is water, which I have shown. The second application, the iron, when we iron our clothes, right? That time there is an iron which will get heated. Now what happens? At the bottom you can see that there is a plate, a metallic plate is there, and above that metallic plate there will be a heating coil, right? And that heat will take place, the heat transfer will take place from that coil to the outer surface of a metal. So that is the heat transfer. So there is one assignment for you, a short assignment type we can consider. Let me show you. Okay, 53 students are there. Fine. Let me import them in Meet. Yes, so total 53 students are there in the meet. Okay, let them add all. Okay, done. Okay. So I will show you one. So the assignment is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, application of heat transfer in day-to-day life. You have to identify an application of heat transfer in your day-to-day life, and you have to type in the chat. I will send a link in the chat box. You have to just go to that web page. Okay. Open this Mentimeter. Is my link available to everyone? Just click on that link. Okay, you will get this page. You will come to this page. Then you have to type one example, one application of heat transfer in day-to-day life. Whatever example comes to your mind first, you type there and post it. Okay, start posting. Is it accessible? That link is accessible? Gas stove, yes. Others? Quickly post it. Only one student is have done it. What about the others? Yes, this is the ongoing assignment. It's type of quiz, or you can say interaction between the students. I will get the details here. Who has submitted? Yes, Sunrays, gas stove, heater. Only 3 students. Heat coil heater, right? IC engine, correct. What about the others? Only 7 students. Portable drill machine. Yes. Okay. Sunrays, lighter, troughs, heaters, walls. Only 11 student. Yes. Condenser, right. Light bulb, correct. Cup of hot tea. Yes. Perfect. Microwave, perfect. Okay. Yeah. Radiators, 19 students have done that. Rod actually, you can say some example. Geyser, correct. Microwave, correct. Okay, burner, right. Ironing a shirt, perfect. Okay, refrigerator, wonderful. Yes. So I can see 34 students have attempted that. Water heater, heating pad, cooler, wonderful. 38 students have done that. I will give you 2 minutes more. Okay, then I'll close this. So these are the application. Now we can see that 39 students have done that. Bike silencer, wonderful. So these are the application where the heat transfer is taking place, right? Now, can we identify which type of heat transfer is there? Whether it is a convection, conduction, radiation, right? In IC engine, whether it is a convection, or radiation, right? We have to identify that. In laptops, how the heat transfer take place in laptop. Okay. Now this is a first lecture where we are studying just an application of heat transfer. Okay, fine. I will close this link now. Okay, so you have to be attentive during the lectures. Only 41 students have attempted that link. Okay, thank you for attempting. Wonderful. 43 students, 43, right? Okay, I'll close this now. Thank you for attempting. Okay, so just I'll close this link. Okay, fine, let it be. So coming back to our topic, the modes of heat transfer. So we have seen the various applications, right? A total 43 applications, right? Within a 5 minutes, we have seen 43 applications, right? So I hope you have understood what are the various modes of heat transfer. Now let us go through in detail what is exactly the conduction, how the conduction takes place. We'll see what is the law behind that, the conduction, okay, and we'll derive an equation for it. For Fourier law of conduction, we'll derive an equation for it.
The mark is not important. The mark is not important.
One second.
How this itself is getting a generator. In the early case, I have developed yesterday. Just I put a.
Okay. So now, mode of heat transfer, the first mode of heat transfer which we are going to study now, that is the conduction, and the conduction is governed by the Fourier law of conduction. So how actually the heat transfer by conduction takes place, that we are going to derive an equation, okay. So the Fourier law of conduction, there should be some law behind the heat transfer, right? So it is governed by Fourier law of conduction. So the statement, it states that the rate of flow of heat through a simple homogeneous solid. What is homogeneous? Homogeneous is having a same property throughout, right? Rate of flow of heat through a simple homogeneous solid is directly proportional to the area of section at right angle to the direction of heat flow and to the change of temperature with respect to length of path of heat flow. Now, this is the statement. Now, to remember the statement, it is very difficult, right? So how we can write the equation for it? Let's see how we are going to write the equation for it. Okay. So rate of flow of heat through a simple homogeneous solid. So rate of flow of heat. So Q is the heat flow. Q is that I can say Q is directly proportional. The rate of flow of heat. So Q is the rate of flow of heat is directly proportional to the area. So it is directly proportional to the area of the section at right angle to the direction of heat flow and to the change of temperature. To the change of temperature, yes, to the change of temperature means dt with respect to length. So with respect to length means it is dx. So this way you can remember the statement. So it says that Q is directly proportional to area, directly proportional to the change of temperature with respect to the thickness or path of heat flow. Okay. So where one by one we will write down what was the terminology in that, okay, where we can say that Q is the heat flow through body per unit time. So what is the unit for heat flow? It will be watt or it will be joules per second. Okay, per unit means it is heat flow per unit time. So joules per second is nothing but watt. So in general, we can write it as watt, or it is also denoted as joules per second. Okay, then area A is denoted as the surface area. Surface area of heat flow. Surface area of heat flow, and it is always perpendicular to direction of heat flow. It is perpendicular to direction of flow. What will be the unit? Unit is meter square. Okay. The next is the temperature difference, dt. Right, dt is temperature difference. Okay, so this is nothing but temperature difference of two surface. Dx is the thickness. thickness of body. Now if I want to represent this on a diagram, how we are going to represent this in the diagram? Okay, equation, we know the statement, we know the equation, these are the nomenclature for that equation. Now I want to represent this on one of its, so let us consider a square plate. Okay, so this is the square plate. I can consider 3D view of that plate. Okay, so heat is been flowing from this direction, it is coming out. This is my Q. Heat is entering from this direction. Okay, that is, heat is entering. Now in that, thickness perpendicular to the direction of heat flow. This is the direction of heat flow, and the thickness which is perpendicular to the dx. This is the dx. Here it will be having temperature. I can say this is T2, and this surface will be having temperature T1. Okay, T1, T2, that will be the temperature difference. Area, if I want to show the area, I can highlight that area with some color. Okay, so this area is responsible for heat transfer. Okay, the area which is there, a perpendicular area, we have to say perpendicular to direction of heat flow, and thickness in the direction of heat flow. Whatever thickness we have to consider, it will be in direction of heat flow. So if I want to define a Fourier law of conduction, Fourier law of conduction can be stated as Q is directly proportional to area, right? The rate of flow of heat through a simple homogeneous solid is directly proportional to the area of section at right angle to the direction of heat flow and to the change of temperature with respect to length of path of heat flow. This is the length of path of heat flow. Q is the direction, Q is the heat amount of heat which is going to transfer, right? So now in this, it is one more thing which we have to include. You can see that we have to remove this directly proportional sign. Okay, now how we are going to do that? So for writing this equation in detail, I can write Q is equal to K, right? Ka dt by dx. Okay, Ka, and here there is a negative sign. Okay, so please take care that there is a negative sign here, and this term minus Ka. Okay, now why there is a negative sign, I will explain you first, and then what exactly is the value K. Okay, K is called as thermal conductivity. K is called as thermal conductivity. It is a property of a material. Okay, because every material will have a resistance to flow of heat. It is similar to the resistance to the flow of heat. So now this material, this block which we have considered, will be having some property, that is the K, thermal conductivity of the material. Now why this negative sign is there? Okay, now what will happen? Suppose always we know that the heat is flowing from higher temperature to lower temperature. Always we know that the heat is flowing from higher temperature to lower temperature. So let us take an example now, and I will, okay, now suppose if the temperature is 50 degrees Celsius and here the temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. Okay, so heat will flow in this direction. The K is the material of that body, let it be. Q is the amount of heat transfer, yes, let it be. That we don't want that term to be disturbed. Dx is the thickness. Okay, at this it is 0. At this it is, suppose let us consider it is of 50 mm. Okay, so 50 mm, 0.05 meters is the thickness. Now if I want to write down the equation for this, Q is equal to area, let it be, we say if we consider the given area is A, then into temperature difference, dt. What is dt? Final temperature minus initial temperature. So final temperature minus initial temperature 50. Okay, minus, sorry, upon temperature thickness difference in 50 minus 0. Okay, 0.05 minus 0. So if you consider this, what will happen? See here, everyone will concentrate here now. You can see that minus, this is what is happening here? 20 minus 50. So what you will get? Minus 30, right? So we need, every time this will take place, whenever we are going to calculate the heat flow, because what we are doing, the temperature will go on reducing as the thickness go on increasing. So that's why the negative sign is kept here, so that it will cancel out. So if negative sign is used here, what will happen? Minus and minus 30, this will cancel out. So you will get a positive value of heat transfer. Okay. So that's why this negative sign is there. So the reason is there is to take care of the decreasing temperature. So I'll write down this reason for why the negative sign is there. The negative sign of K is to take care of the decreasing temperature along with the direction of increasing thickness. So we can say that dt by dx, okay, dt by dx is always negative, is always negative along positive x direction. So this will get cancelled out. This is always negative. So that's why in this equation, you will get Q is equal to minus Ka dt by dx. So what is the equation? If I want to write down the final equation, Q is equal to minus Ka dt by dx. This is the final equation if I want to write down the equation for heat transfer. That is conductive heat transfer. Okay, so this equation will give you the amount of heat transfer from a body. This is Fourier law of conduction. Now, in the Fourier law of conduction, there are few assumptions. What are those assumptions? Let us see what assumptions we have made while deriving this Fourier law of conduction. So first assumption is the conduction of heat takes place under steady state condition, right? So always it is constant with respect to time. Okay, there is no change with respect to time. The flow is unidirectional. You can see that there is no term of time anywhere, right? There is no term of time, so it is constant. We can say yes, it is constant. Then next is it is unidirectional. So we have considered heat transfer only in one direction. You can see only one direction we have considered the heat transfer. So that was the assumption. The third assumption is that the temperature gradient is constant and the temperature profile is linear. So we can see that dt by dx, the temperature is linear profile. It will be facing a linear profile. Then fourth point is there is no internal heat generation. Okay, the body is not going to generate any of the heat within it. So there is no internal heat generation within the body. Fifth point is that the bounding surfaces are isothermal in character. Isothermal means there is no heat transfer from the surrounding surfaces, right? This surface, the surrounding surfaces, there is no heat transfer. This is our assumption, but in actual practice, this won't happen. Okay, there is no heat transfer from the surrounding surfaces. Only one surface is going to transfer the heat. So the bounding surface, we can say it is an isothermal. So that is the fifth assumption. And the sixth one is the uniform. It is having a uniform, homogeneous and isotropic. The material is homogeneous and isotropic. It is having a uniform property throughout. So what is isotropic? Isotropic is the thermal conductivity. The property thermal conductivity is same in all the direction. It is not changing in direction. So when the material is to be assumed that it is isothermal. Okay. Then what is the term called as thermal conductivity of a material? Okay, so this term K is constant for a material. Okay, for every material, this value will be changing. Am I audible?
Yes,
Hello?
sir, you're
Yes, sir.
audible.
Yeah. Okay. So this value of K will always change for different material. Now, how we can define the thermal conductivity? The amount of energy conducted through a body of a unit area and unit thickness in unit time with unit temperature difference between the phases cause the heat flow is the unit temperature. When the temperature in the difference temperature when the difference in the temperature between the phases causing the heat flow is unit temperature difference. Means what we are considering that in this equation, let us consider that the amount of energy conducted through a body of a unit area, unit thickness in unit time when the difference in the temperature between the phase is causing the heat flow in unit temperature difference. For that, there is the values. Okay, now these are the values for the thermal conductivity of the material. Now here you can see that the silver is having a maximum thermal conductivity. So higher the value, please take care. There is one quiz on this. Now I'm going to conduct a quiz on this table. Okay, so please go have a view of this table. There is a small quiz which will be within the lecture itself. So in this, see the silver is having 410 watt per meter Kelvin. Okay, thermal conductivity value of K. Copper is next to it. Aluminium, okay, 225. Copper is 385. Silver is 410. Cast iron 55 to 65 means see the time how many times it is more conducting the heat. So it is 410. Then concrete 1.2. It is as we go on, this value of K reduces. It will form an insulator. Insulator means it will not transfer the heat. Right, glass window is 0.75. It will transfer less amount of heat. Asbestos sheet, yes, it will thermal conductivity value is how much? 0.17. Ash 0.12. Then water is having a thermal conductivity of 0.5, and ferron very less. It is as good as means 0.0083, means it is as an insulator. So on basis of this, we can identify a body. Okay, suppose if I want to transfer the heat, you have to select a body with a higher thermal conductivity. Okay, and if you don't want to transfer the heat, if I want a resistance to the heat, in a refrigerator, you'll find that there is a ferron insulation, right? So in the refrigerator container, the cold, if we want a lower temperature, and if it is not insulated properly, what will happen? It will always convect the heat to the surrounding. It will transfer the heat to the surroundings. For that reason, this ferron will act as an insulator. Okay, so coming back to the quiz, how many are active now? 55 students are active, fine. Okay, so the second, you have to arrange in higher to lower rank of thermal conductivity. I will share the link. Let's see how it works. Actually, I'm trying this for first time, this arrangement. Okay, the link has been posted. Yes, arrange this in higher to lower rank of thermal conductivity. You have to arrange this in rank of thermal conductivity, which is higher, which is lower. 1 second, I'll close this window, or what happened? Everyone will have a look over it. Okay, fine. See, silver is having higher conduct. Yes. Second is the copper. Third is the glass. Fourth is the asbestos. Fifth is the water. We'll check after your submission. Only 9 students have submitted till now. 10 students. Okay, fine. 12. Yes, quickly submit it. You have to arrange it in higher order, higher thermal conductivity and to lower thermal conductivity. Silver is the highest and ferron is the lowest. 21 students have attempted. Okay, 24, 26, 27. Wonderful. 28, 29. So this shows me how many are active in the lecture. Okay, if I just give a lecture and if there is no interaction, means they are switching on the videos and they are taking a nap, morning nap, right? So only 35 students are active, I guess 36. What about the others? 37, 38. So from next lecture onwards, for heat transfer, for thermal engineering, you should be active enough to, whenever, anytime there will be a quiz or such activities will be there. So you have to attempt that activity. Yes, I'll get the details. How many of them are active from here? Okay, so your IP will be traced. So no worry about that. Yes, total 42 students. Yes, in previous assignment also, in previous question also, I have got only 43, 45 response. Only 42 students are active. What about the others? How many are there? 54 are there. Okay, fine. So yes, while doing so, you please post your attendance in the chat box. You type your roll number and name. Okay, roll number. I guess it has not been allotted to you, or it is there, or you're using same roll number. Yeah, fine.
Sir, same roll number.
Okay. You post your attendance in the chat box. Okay, for this, see, everyone will respond. Everyone will respond here. 54 attendance, I will get 54, more than that. राइट किसी को तो इन्फॉर्म किया जाएगा कि आज सर अटेंडेंस ले रहे, जल्दी से लॉग इन हो जाओ. Okay, coming back to our topic. Next is what is the thermal resistance? Okay, what exactly is the term called as thermal resistance? Okay, when thermal resistance is nothing but when two physical systems are described by similar equations and have similar boundary conditions, these are said to be analogous. The heat transfer processes may be compared by analogy with flow of electricity in electrical resistance, as the flow of electric current in the electric resistance is directly proportional to potential difference. Similar, heat flow is directly proportional to the temperature difference. So we are comparing the thermal resistance with flow of heat. Okay, so for that, how the thermal resistance is denoted, let us see. Thermal resistance is denoted by RTH. Okay, it is denoted as RTH, and we can write here the Fourier law. Q is equal to dt upon dx by Ka. Now this term, what I have taken here, it was Ka, I have taken it bottom, and this term is called as thermal resistance, RTH. Okay, so RTH, we can denote this as dt by RTH. So RTH nothing but the thermal resistance is nothing but dx by dA. Dx by dA is the thermal resistance. Okay, so if I want to draw a diagram, suppose if there is a body and heat transfer is going to take place through that body, I will draw an electric circuit. We can draw electric circuit for that. Okay, so it will be showing RTH is the thermal resistance for that, which is equal to dx by Ka. Okay, This is the resistance. Q is the heat flow from it. T1 is the temperature at two Saniel points. So it will be transferring heat from T1 to T2. Amount of heat is Q with the resistance of dt by dx. Okay. So same thing, if I want to draw, it is why it is called as analogous to electric, right? So in that, see, there is a resistance. Okay. So there will be some terminals. Okay. This will be in place of Q. It will be temperature difference, the potential difference, V1, V2, V1, V2, right? Then it is analogous to the resistance. Okay. So here I, current which is flowing, and resistance to it. Okay. So electric current is directly proportional. The electric current in the resistance is directly proportional to the potential difference. So that we can show. So forget this. We don't want to interfere with the electricity. Now you just keep in mind that the heat transfer of a body will be proportional, that is thermal resistance is dx by Ka. Okay. The next is the heat transfer by convection. How the heat transfer by convection takes place, that we are going to see. So for heat transfer by convection, the law which states, it is the Newton's law of cooling. Okay. So what exactly there is actually, first I will write down the equation for Newton's law of cooling, and then we'll see how it is related. Okay, so Q is equal to H A Ts minus Tf. Okay, so this is the equation. Q is the heat flow. So one by one I'll write down the terminologies related to it. Q is the rate of convective heat transfer. Rate of convective, actually it is conductive we can say, or convective we can say, right? A conductive heat transfer, conductive, convective, both, it is a heat transfer. In simple language we can say it is a heat transfer. Then A is the surface area. Here it is a surface area, or we can say surface area, or it is area exposed to heat transfer. We can say area exposed to heat transfer. Okay, area exposed to heat transfer. Then in this equation there is Ts and Tf. What is that? Ts, Tf and H. These terms are there involved in it. Ts and Tf. So Ts is surface temperature. Tf is fluid temperature, because the convection takes place in the fluid. So here we require fluid temperature, and H is coefficient of convective heat transfer. Coefficient of convective heat transfer. Now, as in place of conduction, you can see that there is K, right, which is a property of a solid material. Similarly, for fluid, which will be having a thermal conductivity, right? So that is called as coefficient of convective heat transfer. So it is called as coefficient of heat transfer. And what will be the units for this? Will be in watts, okay, or it can be in joules per second. Surface area, it will be in meters, meter square. Then temperature difference, Kelvin or degree Celsius. Similarly, Kelvin or degree Celsius, the fluid temperature. Coefficient of heat transfer. Coefficient of heat transfer will be watt per meter square degree Celsius. Similarly, what is the unit for K? Now I will compare the unit of K. K is watt per meter Kelvin or degree Celsius. Okay. Now let us compare both the, how we have to find out the unit. How you are going to find out the unit of K? Okay, if I want to write down the equation, K is equal to, okay, what we are going to write, K is equal to Q upon, right, A dt by dx, right? So this is nothing but unit of Q is watt, unit of area is meter. Here it will be meter square, okay. Then temperature difference degrees Celsius upon meter. So meter and meter square will get cancelled. So it will be watt meter degrees Celsius. So this is the unit of thermal conductivity. Now, if I want to derive an unit of heat transfer, that is heat transfer coefficient. It is also called as heat transfer coefficient. In a common language, I can say it is also called as heat transfer coefficient or coefficient of heat transfer. You can call it as heat transfer coefficient. Okay. Now, if I want to derive the equation for that, so I can write H is equal to Q upon area Ts minus Tf. Okay. What is the unit of Q? Watt. What is the unit of area? Meter square. What is the unit of temperature difference? Degree Celsius. So that it is watt per meter square degree Celsius. So what is the difference in K? There is no meter square. Okay, and in H it is having watt per meter square degree Celsius. So that is the comparison. If I want to compare both the temperature units, so this you can keep in mind that it is having meter square here, and in case of thermal conductivity, okay, in case of thermal conductivity, it is having watt per meter degree Celsius. Okay, so this was regarding the convective heat transfer. Now, just we'll go through an overview of radiative heat transfer by radiation. So there are laws of radiations which can be seen. So first is the Wien's law, second is the Kirchhoff's law, then Stephen-Boltzmann law. Okay, it states that the wavelength of a body of a corresponding wavelength corresponding to the maximum energy is inversely proportional to the absolute temperature of the hot body. We are going to see in detail whenever we'll start the heat transfer chapter. That time we are going to see in detail. So now just we are getting an overview of heat transfer, convection and conduction, because we want to study the various modes of heat transfer. So just we have gone through the various modes. So now here, if I want to write down the equation, so wavelength lambda m is directly proportional to the temperature. So lambda mt is constant. So this is the equation for this. If I want to write Wien's displacement law, the next is the Kirchhoff's law, which all these equations were there in your okay, there. So it states that the Kirchhoff's law states that the emissivity of the body at a particular temperature is numerically equal to its absorptivity for radiation energy from body at same temperature. Okay, and next is the Stephen-Boltzmann law. It states that Q is directly proportional to the fourth power of the temperature. So I can write Q is equal to F. So this equation we are going to derive. At present, we are just writing out this equation. Don't worry, whenever we'll start the radiation chapter, that time we are going to derive this equation. So just you can keep in mind these equations. Okay, if we require for solving the numericals, you can refer this. Okay, Q is equal to F sigma A T1 raised to 4 minus T2 raised to 4, and the Wien's displacement law is lambda is directly proportional to the inverse of T. So for today's lecture, we'll stop here. In next lecture, we are going to start in detail the conduction part, and we are going to derive an expression for the general heat conduction equation in Cartesian coordinate, and we are going to write the equation for cylindrical and spherical coordinates. So this will be the in tomorrow's lecture, we are going to start with the conduction part. Okay, wait for a second. I hope everyone has posted the attendance. Now the attendance is 57. 57 students are there in the lecture. Thermal engineering, add all. Okay, fine. You can leave. Thank you for attending the lecture. Already the attendance has been recorded. Okay.
Sir, can you please share the PDF? Today's